Hey everyone, I'm sorry about that. For some reason, my webcam would not turn on. And I think it's because, when I take my computer on a trip and then I come back, I feel like maybe my webcam gets mad at me because I don't take my webcam with me. I don't know. But bottom line is I got it all straight now and I'm so excited to be back. So I want to, I've been working on my bias tops situation, this right here. And I'm going to talk about this in a minute. I want to talk about this dress I'm wearing right now. I love this dress, and it's not made out of a loosely woven linen like my last version, so it doesn't fit the same. And so I thought I would do a little sort of a little mini thing about sewing on the bias, and then sewing sewing on the bias and how fabric can really change what's happening with that garment, because this dress is exactly, doesn't fit me like the linen version, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's a hand-dyed Nick Coman original. I don't know if you know who Nick Coman is, but he has Dragonfly Creative, and he is very talented, and he hand-dyed this, and I bought this in Chattanooga last year at the Southeast Social, where I'm going to be teaching again this year. So I love this dress. I want to wear it, but I have an issue. And if you saw the thumbnail for this live, the issue is I'm not happy with the way the back drapes versus the front. It's almost like the back is grabbing on my butt because there's not quite enough ease. So I want to share with you how I'm going to fix that. And I want to kind of talk a little bit about bias and how it's very forgiving. So like if you make something on the bias, it's really easy, to it's really easy to add more bias. I'm watching Kay saying that I'm not loading on her end. My connection is excellent, and I'm only saying that because I have that notice on my in my OBS studio here, so I think I'm okay on my end. Hi Diane, welcome. And Andrea, if you're hanging out, welcome. And Kay, I hope you're clicking along, or you can see me. I'm sorry about that, but I think it's fine on my end, I think. Let us know if you're watching and if you can see everything just fine. Oh, hey, Polly. Welcome, Polly. Oh, Polly, I got the fabric samples that you sent me. I want to thank you for that, and I'm going to be looking at those. I'm going to feature those on a cool tool in the next week or two. So thank you for the fabric samples. Oh no, Kay says, so it's me. Maybe try restarting your browser and come back. Okay, maybe that will help. I'm sorry about that. All right, so what I want to do here is, before I talk about this, actually let's talk about this first, because this is going to be the shorter topic for today. As you know, I finished this and I like it, except if you look at the side view, okay, this is how it fits me, because remember, this is my ditto form, and my ditto form and me are virtually the same in terms of figure. So what I want you to notice here on my, let me turn it this way. All right, so off of my bust, the fabric kind of hangs and it almost flares out and looks like a tent, like this. This fabric does not do what I thought it would do. I mean, this is a shirtweight linen, so I expected it to be very soft and drapey and sort of fall under my bust like this. That's what I was expecting it to do, and it's not. So I am going to wash it a few more times, and maybe I'll wash it with a can of Coke. If you guys know that secret, the can of Coca-Cola breaks down fibers. Like if you put a nail into a glass of Coke and leave it there for a couple weeks, it will disintegrate the nail. So if you use a can of Coke in the wash, and maybe let it soak for a couple hours, it will soften fiber. So I might try softening this with a can of Coke to see if I like the way it fits better. Because currently, while I like the overall design, it's looking like a big tent on me, and I don't like that. So I purchased from this is from Fabric Mart. They had their chalets were on sale for $5.95 a yard, and I just want to drape this on here and show you the difference. And I'm going to drape it on the bias. So if I put this like this, you know, I want you to see, like, I think it's going to fall softer, you know, underneath my bust. And actually, this particular one that I got is not really the colors I thought they were going to be. There's a lot of orange in this, which I'm not an orange lover, but I'm going to try sewing this top up in a rayon. So I got this, it's almost like a bandana kind of print. Let me see. Oh, Kay says, I've never heard of that. I'll have to remember that for future. Are you talking about the rayon challis? If you are, then that's what this is. So this is rayon. It doesn't, you know, it has some give on the bias, but it's softer. And then I also got two solid colors. This is like a French blue. And this is interesting because it's a crinkle. And I don't know if you can see the texture of it, but it's almost got, if I hold it really close to the camera, maybe you'll be able to see the texture. It's got crinkle, so it does have stretch across. This is the cross grain, so it does stretch a little bit. So when I cut it on the bias, that crinkle is going to be on the, you know, on the diagonal. I got this color, and I got this red color to try. So I'm going to be, oh, the Coke. Okay. I was going to say, oh, I was thinking to myself, rayon challis is pretty common, so I was pretty sure you weren't talking about the rayon challis. Yes, Coke. Now, I use Coke very frequently with denim. So, and as an example, since I'm talking about Coke and denim, I had this denim that I got from Metro Textiles, and I shared this a few weeks ago. This is like a cross-dyed, a cross-woven red and navy, so it looks purple. It's very stiff, so I may be treating this to some Coke too to soften it. But traditionally I use it for denim, but because that linen is not super soft, I'm going to try it. So I'm going to try it in one of these rayons to see if it improves the way the you know, the blue shirt looks. So I'm going to try to work on that. So that's what I want to talk about with that. And of course, next week, there's no Fab Fit Friday because next week I'm going to PatternCon. And if anybody else is going to PatternCon, you probably know how exciting it is. PatternCon is a sewing event that Trisha Comancho of Creative Costume Academy basically came up with, organized, and is hosting. It's in Atlanta, Georgia this year. So I'm very excited about that. Now, of course, I'm driving because I need to bring a lot of stuff with me. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just folding up these fabrics because I wash them and I don't want them to get all messed up before I use them or wrinkly. So I'm just folding them up quick. But basically, I'll be in PatternCon next week, so there's no Fab Fit Friday next week. But then when I get back from that, I'm home, well, for a couple weeks, and then I'm going to Iowa to teach a pants fitting for the Iowa Cedar Rapids chapter of the ASG. So I'm getting kind of busy. I'm sorry about all my travel, but I have a lot of travel coming up. So some Fab Fit Fridays are going to have to get canceled. But, you know, I'll keep you posted. Now, here's one. Let me show you one tragic thing. I almost made a super tragic, I almost had a big tragedy before I move off of the shirt pattern this issue. I want to show you something here. And this is sort of a, what do I want to say? This is going to be a tale of a warning. So I was going to cut out my shirt, and look at right here. Look at how a piece of my pattern ripped off. Like I didn't notice that it ripped off. And thank God I looked through my garbage. I found it in my garbage. So I almost threw away this piece, which goes right here, right? So, you know, make sure if you're working with big pattern pieces, or there's little skinny parts, like, you know, like little, see how there's like a little strap here? Just make sure you store it in a way where it's not going to get hurt or torn, because that would have really been a tragedy if I had lost that piece, because then I would have had to, you know, figure out how to put that back. So that would have been a little bit of a hot mess, but luckily I found it. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to show you my issue with this. And when I went to Lansing last weekend, I brought this and I was going to wear it on the last day. But when I put it on and I showed Carol, you know, my friend Carol who owns Ditto Form, we were roommating together in the Airbnb right next to where I was doing the workshop. I just want to show you, what I want you to notice is, I love the drape of this in the front. So, you know, it sort of fits and then it starts to flare, right? So it flares, and I really like the way the front looks. The back, it fits up here, but then it's yucky here because it's grabbing here, okay? So I need more ease across my tush, so it'll fall nicer. And I just want to show you what I've done so far, or what the design of the back of this dress looks like so far, and then I want to show you how I'm going to add more ease. So I'm going to take it off. I do have a tank top and a skirt on underneath, so don't be alarmed. I don't want to scare anybody. I do have clothes on. Okay, so what I want to do now is I just want to show you on the table what the back of this dress currently looks like. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so let me just show you here. And I think I'll show you inside out. It'll be easier to see. So in the front, starting in the front of this dress, I added in the seam allowance. I think you can see here. I'll show you. All right, let me just get this. Let me just get this so it's, I want you to be able to see. So I'm going to make it brighter so you can see. I think that will really help. Okay, so here is my front neckline right here. So you see, here's the V of the front neckline right here. Okay, and then what I did was about, let's say this is about 12 inches down from the neckline, I inserted a godet into the seam. So starting right here, okay, I did a straight godet and it goes all the way to the hem. All right, and then in the back, I added another godet. So let me show you that. So in the back, I started it right at this is the armhole right here. Okay, so you can see it's right here. See the godet? So it goes down. And this is kind of cool. So I'm a little bit not sure what I want to do here, but I think you can see the godet comes down like this. Okay, and what I did was I cut straight through the first godet. So just to show you here, see how so see how this godet, here's the seam for the godet that wraps around, the godet that comes from the front is right here. So the front one comes down like like this, and then I cut straight through it, so the little corner of the godet that was right here is over here. Okay, so I made this cool kind of thing, but I still need more ease. Now, what I want to show you here is to add ease in a bias dress is really easy, and I've already prepped this so I don't have to deal with a big honking piece of fabric. But basically what I did was, okay, I put this on. I'm just going to show you. And I marked the fullest part of my back hip, or my behind, is right where this pin is, right here. So see this pin right here? Okay, so right here is where I marked, because that's where I need like another, you know, maybe 4 inches of ease to relax this whole part here, you know, coming off of, here's the back neckline, right? And then, you know, here's the godet coming down this way. So about here is where I need to open that up and have more, you know, more ease across my behind. So what I'm going to do is I have to make some choices. So first I'm going to make the godet to insert in there, and I've already drawn it, and I want to try to cheat it. And what I mean by that is, let me just show you here. Typically a godet is a straight wedge, you know, so you just start doing this, and then it gradually gets wider and wider, right? From top to bottom, it gets wider like a wedge. Well, what I want to do is I marked right here, this is the 16-inch line that coordinates from the top to where my fullest hip is. And when I did a straight line, I was only here, right? So this is only 2 inches, plus I need a seam allowance. So I felt like that wasn't enough. So I took my ruler and I flared out a little bit, like I went like this, like I flared out a little bit to add another inch. So now I added this much more. Let me just get in there and show you, okay? So I basically angled it out, okay? But my strip is not wide enough to continue along that angle. See, I'd run out of fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue it, you know, as far as I can, like this. And I'm just going to sort of cheat it in and make it as close to a, you know, a straight line as possible. But it does bow out here a little bit because I came out farther. You know, like I said, I came out farther and then I'm coming in a little bit. So I'm just going to cut this now. And notice at the top, it's only 1 inch wide, because when I do my 2 1/2-inch seam allowances, I want that to come to a point. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take I'm just going to put my Sew Tight magnets here so I can hold the edges, or the folded edge of this, flat like this. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to cut this. I'm going to start over here and I'm going to cut. And I'm following my widest line here. So you can see, I think you can see the shape, right? And then I'm going to slide this up and cut the rest. Now I did measure the length of the seam that I needed to insert, so I had that information. So I'm just going to use my ruler now, and I'm just going to, you know, make this as wide as I can with the amount of fabric I have left. I'm just going to go like this. Eek. All right, so let's cut that off. Let's just see what we end up with. Now I'm going to open it up and look at it. All right, so I'm going to add all of this ease back into the dress, okay? And I picked the lighter blue to be there because when you look at where I'm going to insert this, let's look here. So I think here, this is the godet right here. I think you can see it. It's right here, right? So I have to decide, am I going to, I could add it, take out this seam and add it over here. I could take out this seam and add it over here, or I could cut up the center of this godet and just put another one inside this one. And that's what I'm trying to decide what I want to do. Like, I don't think I want to put it right next to it like that. I don't think I want to do that. So I think what I'm going to do is put it in the middle of this one, if that makes sense. Because then it'll just make that wider. I mean, another option could be, I could put it, let's see, see, because look at all this detail over here. So let me just make it more obvious. So see right here, there's already a line. I'm just highlighting it in white so you can see. See, there's already a line right here. This is a line right here. This is a line right here. And then here's the rest of it over here already. So I don't know if I want to potchkey it up anymore. I think if I'm going to put it anywhere that's not in the middle, I think I would put it over here, so it's more on the side. So I'm just trying to decide if I want to cut up the middle of this or take this seam out. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this seam out, because if I don't like it, I can put this back. Once I cut this, I'm committed to it, essentially. So I'm going to take this out. That's where I'm, oh, sugar. And of course, I got all fancy and I clean finished all the edges, so I'm going to have to take out the serged edge, which I can do it. Oh, sorry. It's going to take me a minute to do that. Hold on. All right, let me just, so to do this fast, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tease out the ends of my seams here, and then I'm going to find the needle threads. I'm going to start pulling those, and it should come out pretty fast if I do it that way. And I'm just going to give myself a little bit more light right here for a second so I can see what I'm doing. All my threads are the same color, so I have to be careful that I pull the needle threads. If you pull the looper threads, it tightens it down. So it's really important that you pull the needle threads. And also my serger needs to be serviced, so I've got a loose stitch anyway down there, so I'm hoping that'll just make it easier to come out. Okay, so I've got 2 loopers. So I'm going to assume these 2 are the needle threads because they're shorter. Let's see what happens when I pull one of these. Okay, so, yep, this is a needle thread. So see what I'm doing here? I'm just going to pull on this needle thread. See what I'm doing? I'm gently pulling it like this. So I'm holding it with this hand. Make it a little bit wider so you can see. I'm holding it with this hand. There's the thread, and then I'm petting the fabric along the thread, and that's just going to make it come out faster. Oops. And if it breaks, that's okay. I can find it later. So I've got that one. Then once I find the other needle thread, I can continue with that one. So again, I think it's this shorter one right here. And then the second one always comes out faster. So for my initial few inches, it'll come out really easy. And then once this one snaps, I'll find where it snapped and I'll continue on. But this is really almost like magic. Like, see how fast I'm just gathering it along? Instead of trying to pick out all that stitching, you know, this just works really easy. So see how gathered up it is from, you know, pulling those needle threads. Okay, so I've got it like this. So now I'm going to start on the other side. I'm going to push the fabric along over here now. Make it a little bit wider so you can see. I mean, this is an easy way to take out, if you need to get rid of or take out a serge seam, you know, this works really nicely. So it's almost like I'm manipulating the fabric along the thread versus pulling the thread. I'm really not pulling the thread. I'm pushing the fabric along the thread, if that makes sense. All right, so see how I'm just working it? Working it, working it, working it. All right, and then I can feel it. It's released from over here. It's already come out from this end. I can feel that it's releasing. So I should be able to pull this thread out all in one shot. See, look at. Okay, so here in my hand is that entire needle thread. All right, so that whole needle thread is out. So where do I find where the first thread broke? I pull out my loopers. Now this is really cool. Watch this. So I'm going to pull my, make this a little brighter over here so you can see. So watch this. I'm just going to pull my looper threads. See how they just come out? And it'll stop where it broke. So it broke right here. So now I'm going to find the needle, the little needle thread tail, which will be really short compared to those loopers that I just pulled. It's right here. So now I can continue to pull out the rest of this. And because the first one is out, the second needle thread will come out super fast. Because the second thread always comes out faster than the first thread. So see how it's just much easier for me to pull it along. I'm going to make this a little darker this way. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. All right, so I'm just pulling out this. Oh, I broke it. All right, so let's pull out the looper threads again to see where we are. So I'm going to pull my looper threads, and they're going to come out to the point where the needle thread broke. So let's see how far we got. All right, so we got to here. So see, now I'm right here. And again, I'm just going to tease it out and find where that little broken needle thread is. It's right here. So now I should be able to get the rest really easy. Yep, it's all going to come out in one shot. All right, so that's out. And now I'm going to finish taking out the rest of this. Let me see if I can show you. Hold on. How easy this is once we make it really bright, really sharp. So see, watch, now the looper threads will just fall right off. See? See that? It's just falling right off. Okay, now I've taken off the entire serged edge is gone now. And the other cool thing is, here's my mess. So instead of having all those little pieces, it's all one long strip. So that's how you can easily take out a serged edge. And then the next thing I need to do is I need to take, obviously, the stitching out. So where's my seam ripper? I'll just use this one. All right, so I'm going to take this out now. And then once I get this done, I'm going to sew I'm just gonna rip it. There we go. I don't have patience. Okay, so now up here, so we're gonna insert this right up here. So now if I show you, here is my armhole right here. Oops, a minute. Okay, so here is my armhole right here, see? And here is the seam, right? So I'm gonna get up there as high as I can. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that godet that I cut, which is right here. And we're just gonna sew it. Now obviously I need my sewing machine, so hold on one second. Okay. Let me just plug this in. Okay. All right, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to sew this now. I'm really excited to see, you know, how it, really excited to see how adding this extra ease works out. So let me just get my godet here and let me find where it's inserting. All right, so here is the top, and I think you can see here, here is the top of the first godet. So I'm just going to take this piece, I'm going to come right up in here and I'm going to do 1/2 inch like this, and I'm just going to sew straight down like this. And I don't need a lot of pins. I am going to put 1 pin just to hold it up at the top here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this in here like this. All right, so I'm starting at the very top. Let me make this a little less right. And let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. A little less bright. All right, now let's sew this. So again, I'm going to sew this at 1/2 inch. I'm just going to sew this straight in. So the nice thing about working on the biases, it's a lot more forgiving than people might think, because if it's not working, you can always either add, or you could also cut out a godet. Let's say you made it too wide, you could actually cut a wedge out and sew it back together. So very adaptable. Okay, and I made this a little longer than I needed, just to be safe, and then I'll trim it to match. Okay, I'm almost at the end. right, let's look at this quickly. Okay, so what we have now is, I think you can see, here is the godet I'm adding, right? So here's the extra 1/2 inch. I think you can see that right here. This is the very top. This is the 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to put it together with this one. And what I want to do is I want to line it up with the stitching on this side. So I'm going to sew on this side this time. So I want to make sure I make that into a perfect point up at the top. So I'm literally going to stick it in like this, and I'm going to put my needle down right where it intersects with the, I think right there. Okay, so it's right on the tip of that. And now I'm going to just stitch this other side like this. And I'm really hoping this is going to give me enough ease so it's not grabbing on my butt. Oh, hey Barbara. I'm showing how to add another godet into the back of my bias dress because I needed more ease back there, so that's what I'm doing. I showed how to make the godet, and now I'm sewing it in. And basically I'm sewing it along the seam of a godet I already put in there, so that's where I'm putting it. All right, I'm almost done. Okay, this is exciting because now we can try it on. Oops. All right, so let's see. I'm very excited to see how this looks. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this back on. First, let me put it on and show you. So just so you can see up at the very top, I think you can see how those are the top of my two godets, those V right there, see? Okay, so now there's two. There was only one before, now there's two. So it's right there at the base of the armhole. Let me just stick this on and see what happens. Okay, so, all right, it definitely feels swishier. So if you can tell by whatever. I'm just going to take a quick peek in the mirror because I want to see what it looks like. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. All right, so I guess it is better. So now you can see, I'm just going to show you one more time. So you can see now, see I've got lots more ease here. So I think that falls much better now. And I think I'm happy with it now. So that's how you can add ease. Oops. Just gonna, I took my skirt off so I could just make sure I didn't have all that padding on under there. All right, so I'm happy with that. Let me lay it on the table and show you. And so I'll just finish this with my serger, and then this project will be all done. Just get myself all back together here, sorry. All right, let me shut this off, move this out of the way. Move this back over here. Okay, so let's look at this on the table now. I'm going to show you now that it's sewn in where it is. Oh, let me just... Oh, Kay says it looks much better. Thank you. You know, I just think it's looser. Sometimes having more ease is your friend. So I think you can see right here. Here was the original godet. Here's the new one I added. And you can see it just travels across. Now, at the hem, I've got this thing that goes on like this. Now, what I want to explain about bias, when you add godets, what happens is it makes the hem longer. It makes the hem longer there. So as you can see, the whole hem kind of dips down. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go like this. So see how I kind of just smoothed it out? Because over here, I think you can see it makes a shape to have, see all of this is longer here. So I'm going to have to see if I like that, you know, after I let it hang for a little bit. Let me just put it over here. Oh, Diane says, oh my gosh, how cute. So let me tell you guys, if you want to make this dress, whoops, hold on. Face camera. If you want to make this dress I'm working on, I have it in my Fab Fit Fridays. It's the 3-seam bias dress and top, or top and dress. I show how to draft a bias top using a knit, you know, your front and back knit T pattern, and how to size it up to get the right amount of ease, how to create the pattern, and then I show how to make this style. So if you don't want to wait for me to develop it into a pattern, which I will be doing, but you know, everything takes me forever because I'm doing a million things and everything just takes a long time. But, you know, if you want to go check that out, you can make your own by following along with me from last summer. This was like a last summer, or maybe even 2 summers ago now, when I actually did the original one. But basically, let me just stick this on for you onto my ditto form so you can see. Yeah, I can tell, I can really tell that that it does fit much looser, because if it fits my ditto form better, it's going to fit me better. So you can see here, if I pull it in, I'm going to push it back. Yeah, I think that's a cool design now. So that's how it looks. But see how the hem, I'm trying to show you the hem gets asymmetrical. So see how, let me get my garbage bag out of the way. See how the hem it's longer in the back, because when you put those godets, it gets longer, shorter in the front. See how much shorter the front is? And then it gets longer in the back. So it's almost like a high-low. I don't know if I'm going to leave it like that, but I'm just going to let it hang for a little while. and then I will finish those, finish the whatchamajiggers, the seam allowances, then I'll decide if I want to hem it or not. So that's all that's all I have to share for today. But I do have a couple announcements. Oh, let me just see. People are, hold on a second. So Barbara says, is the godet on the bias? No, that's a good question, Barbara. You cut the godet out. The center of the godet is on the straight of grain, and then when you sew, it becomes off grain. But the position of the godet in the skirt is on the straight of grain, because remember, it's 45 degrees. So if you sew something at a 45-degree angle on a bias garment, that's the straight of grain versus straight up and down. And bias likes bias does not like to be sewn across the bias. So for example, if you cut out a bias front and back top and then have traditional straight side seams, they tend to ripple and buckle. So that's why my seams all go from, like, the first one goes from my base of my V neckline, and it goes diagonally across me all the way down to the middle of the back hem. It's on the, so it's traveling the straight of grain, and that's how they like to be sewn together. So that's part of bias, and that's why, on this top, I did the same thing. I made my seam, start here. I think you can see it because it's inside out, so it's right here, and it goes around to the back. Okay, and that's the bias fabric, or the bias grain likes that when you're not sewing it, on a traditional side seam. Let me just see here. And then Kay says, do you think a bias dress would look good on an apple shape? I'm basically a very short apple. I think if you have enough ease, bias looks nice on everybody. Kay's also saying, I think it would drape over my tummy. Okay, let me show you something else. This book right here, Bias Cut Blueprints. I'm going to switch my view so you can see. Okay, this Bias Cut Blueprint book right here. I did a whole series on this, and this is part of how I developed the dress. I worked in here first, and I made a top here. But what I want to show you, Julianne Bramson and Susan Lenahan are the authors of this, and they are two different shaped ladies. So I want you to look at this dress right here. Okay, so this is a model wearing a dress that's got bias, and it's got a lot of godets in the skirt to make it wider. But what I want to show you is, right here. So here are the two authors wearing the same dress, and I want you to notice Lena is a little heavier here versus, their shapes are a little bit differently, but notice how beautiful it looks regardless of your shape. And it says here, bias cut for every body. Authors Julianne and Susan are modeling the dress that was displayed on the dress form on the front cover. So this is the dress. So that's how that's how wide the skirt is. It's a perfect circle, right? And so they're both wearing that same dress, as well as this model. Now she is much more slender, right? So it fits her. And then it also fits on a wide range of shapes and sizes. So you can see that it's flattering even on different curves. So on these curves and on her curves, and then just to see the cover and how wide it is. They basically put like a half dress form on the floor and then spread the skirt around it. You can see it almost makes a perfect circle, which I think is very cool. So that skirt, and I mean, I could have done something like that with what I'm with mine. But basically, just want to show you here on a scrap of paper. Okay, so this dress right here, basically what they did was they had, so like if the bodice comes down like this, let's say, all right, there's an armhole, shoulder, V, shoulder, armhole, there's the bodice. And then what they did, and I can tell by the way it looks when it's fanned out here. So what they did was they had, like, let's say a piece that went like this. Okay, and then the next strip was like maybe over there. And they put a big V-shaped, so that's in behind. So big V-shaped, and then there'd be, you know, obviously there'd be one in the back too, right? So there'd be one more strip. Okay, so this whole thing is a godet. This whole thing is a godet. This whole thing is a godet here, and this whole thing is a godet here. So this is, oops. So this is the dress right here. So this purple is the dress. Here's the armhole. This is the bodice. This is the dress. This is the dress. This is the dress, and then this back here is the dress. So that's how they got that shape. So when you pick it up, it all collapses. Okay, so see. Okay, that's what that is. And then you can see it just collapses. Now here's another version. Okay, this is more similar to the one that I was working on, because it's straighter right here. But see the different shapes and how it fits these different shapes. So I really think bias, you know, looks good on everybody. Now, let me just show you this illustration. This is interesting because it's showing you the fit of different fabrics. So, you know, the amount of collapse, meaning how much it will fall. So linen and rayon challis are your friends. The silk charmeuse is going to be very fitted. It's going to cling onto everything. And this is a wool crepe. Okay, so the more difficult the fabric is to cut, sew, and finish, the more beautiful and elegant it will be. So crepe fabric is amazing for bias, but they tend to be unstable when cut on edges and distort, you know, when it hangs in your closet. So you have to really stabilize the edges, like stabilize your armholes and necklines. But this is beautiful. And then the silk as well really collapses. And then there's a whole chart over here that will tell you the kind of fabric, what the weave is, the weight, the softness, the level of fit, and then there's notes here. So this book right here, Bias Cut Blueprints, is a really cool book to have if you're at all interested in, you know, sewing bias. There's a lot of really good information in here. And then the whole premise of their book is they start with a tube. They show you how to make a tube that is entirely on the bias. And then, you know, after you sew it together, you use the tube to make projects. So you can make a skirt, you can make tops, you know, different things. So, you know, again, like look at this simple bias sort of bandeau neckline. You know, here's a more drapey one. So there's lots of fun. Oh, and right here, this is, I learned how to add the godet into my garment. See how it's inserted, the godet? So this is how you do it. It's straight on grain. You measure the width of how much ease you need where you need it. So kind of in the middle there. And then, like I said, you can either take it in or let it out. So those are the two things you can do. So I love this book. And then as soon as I get off of this live, I will go back and I will put a link to this if anybody's interested in getting this book. But I will tell you that I refer to it quite a bit. So I'm very excited about this Bias Cut Blueprint book. I use it for, you know, reference, and Julianne and Susan are lovely ladies. So I love to support them and whatever, but basically very, very cool bias. So that's my report. So, okay, I had an amazing time. Last weekend I was in Lansing, Michigan. I taught a 3-day pants fitting workshop at Seams Fabrics and Mercantile. If anybody is close to Lansing, Michigan, and they want to check out a very cool fabric shop, definitely check them out. It's a very cool store. I am heading off on Thursday next week to drive to Atlanta, Georgia for PatternCon, and I'm going to get to stay with my friend Mary Beth halfway down, which is kind of cool. She lives in Virginia, so I'm going to drive to Virginia, stay overnight, and then I'm going to drive from Virginia to Atlanta on Friday. So when Fab Fit Friday normally would be happening, I will be in my car puddling along to Atlanta. So no Fab Fit Friday next week, but I will be back. Let me just look at my calendar so I can tell you. Okay, so once I'm back from there, then I am going to be home for one Friday. So on August 7th, there will be Fab Fit Friday. Then on the 14th, I'll be in Cedar Rapids teaching again. But then the good news after that is I will have 3 weeks in a row of Fab Fit Friday before I go to Jacksonville. I have a pretty hot schedule for the rest of the year. I have at least 1, if not 2 travels every month until November. In December, I'm done. No, nothing in December. But anyway, so that's my report. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. If anybody has any questions about sewing on the bias, please post those below. I will put a link to part 1 of how I developed this pattern. Okay, so if you want to try it, you can. So I'll put a link to there as well when I get off. So that is my report. I hope everyone is enjoying summer. I hope everyone is safe and sound. You know, don't eat that lettuce. Be careful. And just take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in 2 weeks here for Fab Fit Friday. I will have a cool tool, and I will have a fit tip for next week, so I will have those things. I just won't be on for Fab Fit Friday. And then I just want to remind everybody, if anybody is in my YouTube Insider Club, we're getting together this Sunday at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And if anybody is not sure what that is, I just want to remind everyone, I do have a YouTube club. It's a one-time payment of $99 for the rest of your life. Then you get an organized catalog of all of my content, and we get together on the last Sunday of the month. So if anyone's interested in joining me, there is a link to that in the description below. And if you already are a member, I hope to see you on Sunday at 5 o'clock. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for watching. All right, bye-bye. Mm-hmm.